Hello, and welcome back to Student Affairs Shares, an informative webinar series to keep families informed and engaged. And today I'm really excited to have our guests from Student Conduct and Community Standards, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi, Nikita. Really excited to be here. My name is Nina Goodkin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Prevention Education Coordinator with the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards, or just SCCS.
All right, thank you so much, Nina. So, first and foremost, can you tell us a little bit more about Student Conduct and Community Standards and just highlighting what this office does for our Jayhawks here at KU?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards addresses incidents of non-academic misconduct on campus. And then we also educate about the Code of Student Rights and Responsibilities. And what that means in practice is we are really focused on creating healthy, thriving, strong communities through a series of different initiatives on campus. I would say students are most familiar with their office through the Code of Student Rights and Responsibilities, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a guiding document that outlines all the students' rights and expectations on campus. It's really rooted in four core values. Those values are respect, integrity, responsibility, and community. While our office oversees implementation of the code, we really want the code to live with students. We want it to be something that they can hold themselves accountable to and hold their peers accountable to, and is amended every couple of years by students. To put the code into our own work, we focus on a few key areas. Prevention education, so workshops on or on risk management, hazing prevention, just what students' rights are and how to exercise them. We also do some restorative justice focused initiatives. And restorative justice, or RJ, is a set of practices focused on restoring harm. So in practice, that looks like services such as conflict style consultations or facilitated dialogue. So a lot of times we help students who are struggling with any sort of roommate conflict. So we've had students come to us to help craft a text message on how to tell their roommate that they need to start taking out the trash, all the way up to like widespread facilitated dialogue between groups of roommates or organizations even. And then lastly, we implement the non-academic misconduct process. This is really an educational, non-judgmental based intervention. Most hearings really occur on a one-on-one environment with a hearing officer who kind of learns what happens, figures out how they can support the students. We think accountability is very important, but this process is really growth centered and it's not meant to be punitive in any way.
Thank you so much for that, Nina. Sounds like you all offer some really good resources here for our Jayhawks and even their families. And now I'm going to shift us to some Q&A for some questions that parents might have for your office. And so first and foremost, what are some common misconceptions that students and parents have about the Student Conduct and Community Standards Office?
Yes, this is such a great question. So we actually conducted some research over the summer to learn about incoming Jayhawks and their families' perceptions of our office. If any parents or guardians stopped by our table during the opportunities fair at orientation, you might have even participated in this research. And the most common misperception that came out of that work was we saw that a lot of people believe that we handle incidents of academic misconduct, and that's not accurate. We don't handle academic misconduct, such as like cheating or plagiarism. That would be handled by the school that your student is a part of. We also really like to reframe our office as supportive and educational and not punitive. We like to stay in the prevention education side of things, and we do as much prevention work as possible. We really exist to make sure students feel supported and recognize that college can be a time to define values and grow, and that mistakes happen. Something else I would really like to talk about is one of the top worries when students come into our office to meet with us for any sort of like misconduct process is the worry that they're going to be suspended or expelled. This is really a rare occurrence. And if a student's status was in question in any way, it would be explicitly written as a possible outcome of the case in our initial outreach to them.
Thank you so much for that. I'm so happy that you broke down some of those common misconceptions because I do think that there has been the connotation of like the conduct office is, you're in trouble, but we also know that college students, it's a whole new world for them. And sometimes they will make those missteps, but it's not that they can't come back from those missteps and become educated on how to, take better action to make better decisions and have better behavior. So I'm really glad that you broke that down for us. And so my next question for you is what can families do to support students who may be facing conduct issues or challenges?
Yeah. So as a third party, we really understand that parents and guardians can have really honest discussions with their students about policy and decisions. And we really encourage you all as parents and guardians to support your student when you learn that they're going through any sort of process with their office. Um, and kind of begin the reflection process with them. Furthermore, a really critical component of our misconduct process is connecting students to resources on campus. So, if you can consider some of the appropriate sources that might be great for your student, that's really helpful, whether that's academic support with Jayhawk's academic advising or mental health support with our counseling and psychological services. Just making sure that students feel supported and empowered throughout our process and by you all their trusted support systems. The last thing I will note that during our misconduct process and in general, we take students' right to privacy extremely seriously. And of course, due to student privacy laws as well. So families are not typically notified of an alleged policy violation. A student would need to initiate that. That being said, all students have the right to an advisor, which could encompass a parent or guardian. So when I meet with a student, I always let them know that they can call someone on the phone or we can Zoom them in before we start the meeting.
Thank you so much for that. I think that is helpful that you mentioned that. And so, in conjunction with that question, are there resources for families to kind of better understand university policies and procedures offered through your office?
Yeah. So our website is a wonderful resource. So we have pages on there specifically for parents and guardians on topics like hazing, just general FAQ about our office, what the conduct process looks like. We also utilize Instagram a lot to promote events and messages. And then we try to post monthly on KU Family Connections or Campus ESP to make sure we're providing timely updates and just general information about our office.
Thank you so much, Nina. You mentioned hazing, and so could you share maybe what is the process for that? How does student conduct and community standards maybe provide some of that education around hazing that might occur in different communities and organizations here at the university?
Yeah, absolutely. Something that's actually coming up is National Hazing Prevention Week, which occurs across different campuses, even high schools all over the country. And it is taking place on September 22nd. Um, Really quickly, hazing is really any activity expected of someone joining or continuing membership in a group that risks emotional or physical harm. And it occurs regardless of a student's willingness to participate. KU's definition is very thorough, and there's much more information on our website. So we're going to be promoting all this different information during National Hazing Prevention Week. On our Instagram and then through different initiatives like These Hands Don't Haze tabling event. Um, so parents, guests, they can follow along on our Instagram. I would also say external to KU. We always like to refer to experts in the field of hazing prevention. So the Hazing Prevention Network is offering a ton of free webinars throughout the week, so that parents and guardians can access these and be more informed about hazing prevention, and how to just talk to their student about the wonderful organizations that exist on campus and how to get involved.
Thank you so much, Nina. Those were all of my Q&A questions for you. And so, really quick before we wrap up, can you tell our parents and families where they can follow student conduct and community standards on social media, and how they can stay in contact with you if they ever need you all?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Instagram is KU_SCCS. That being said, anyone can always email us. Our email is kusccs@ku.edu. And then our phone number is 785-864-4060.
Thank you so much, Nina. And then before we officially wrap up, can you tell us the dates for National Hazing Prevention Week one more time?
It it begins on September 22nd and lasts the entirety of that week. So we hope people participate.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Nina, for providing us with this very important information. Thank you for being our guest today, and we hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Great chatting with you, Nikita.